This is a demo of progress the development team has made during Sprint 4 of the Spotlight development effort. This is the first demo you've seen about Spotlight. Spotlight is a plugin that adds features to Blacklight to enable librarians, curators, and others to easily produce feature-rich websites that highlight digital collections from institutional repositories and other data stores. We're recording a live demo at the end of each development sprint to keep those interested in Spotlight up to date with our development progress. In Sprint 4 this week, the development team has once again made significant progress. As with the recent Spotlight demos, we're going to start with an exhibit site on which a curator has already done some initial work. We have a site title, a site subtitle, we have imported items that are indexed, and we have a couple of about I'm a curator pages, curated feature pages, we have some browse categories, and some about pages. So I can start demoing the features that the development team has added this week by starting right here on the home page. In one of the previous demos, I showed how this report a problem link links to a contact form that site visitors can use to ask a question or report a problem they find on the site. This week we've enhanced this a little bit. Non-JavaScript users will still go to that contact form on a separate page, but for users who have JavaScript, this link now reveals the contact form in place on the page so that the user can have access to whatever it was on that page that might have prompted them to want to ask a question or report a problem. Another feature that we've added this week is social sharing links. So we want to make it a little easier for site visitors to be able to share a link to the exhibit. So they can do that now via Twitter, Facebook, or Google+. Another thing we've worked on this week is making our URLs in Spotlight more human readable, more user-friendly. So I'm going to click around a little bit, and you'll see that the URLs now that we use for different pages are more human readable. And as I click around, also another thing we've worked on this week a little bit is cleaning up our breadcrumbs and making those more readable. So I'm going to head over to the administration and curation section now to show a couple of the other features that we've done this week. So I'm going to start here on the settings page. I think it was last week I talked about this contact email field where the administrator can add one or more email addresses that are used as the recipients of the report a problem form. This week the team has added validation for these email addresses. So it's important that those addresses that get the report is sent to are valid email addresses. So now we have a way to be sure of that. When a new email address is added and saved here on the settings page, a confirmation email is sent to that email address. When it's confirmed, then there's an indication here. And if a few days go by without it being confirmed, we'll show a link here that allows the administrator to resend that confirmation list to the email address. Another small feature that we've added this week is a default browse category. So with every new exhibit, there will be a browse category called Browse All Exhibit Items that's pre-configured to show all the items in the exhibit. And this will be unpublished by default, so a curator doesn't have to use that if they're not interested in having this as a browse category. But for curators who are interested in having a browse category, all they have to do is maybe enhance the description and click it to publish it. I also think that having this default browse category with a new exhibit might help curators who are new to Spotlight better understand how the browse categories work. If I move over here to the feature pages section, I want to show some nice work we've done this week to improve the interaction when adding pages. So now when we add a new page, we actually can enter the title for the page as part of the new page creation process. And that's just streamlines the process of creating new pages, because a page automatically has a title and it doesn't have to be added afterwards. If the curator does want to change the page title, another thing we did this week to make that easier is we've added edit in place for the titles. So now they can just click on the title and add a new title there. And this feature that I've just demonstrated for adding new pages works the same exact way for the About pages. If we go to look at the home page, which is one type of feature page, so what I'm going to show next about editing pages applies to the home page, applies to the feature pages, and applies to the About pages in exactly the same way. So what we've done this week is really enhanced the editing of pages, which I'll show you by going into a page. We're in edit mode now. One thing you might notice at first, if you've seen the recent demos, is that the whole widget display for widget configuration, and if I show you adding a new widget, this widget selection box, everything looks a lot cleaner now. We have improved icons for the widget, and basically I think we've made the editing a little bit more friendly in terms of the visual appearance of the edit view of the page. More significantly, we've added a couple of widgets this week. So I want to demonstrate the first one. Let's say this is the home page. So let's say the curator really wants people to get a visual impression of the exhibit front and center on the home page when they come to the site. So we might want to use a carousel widget for that. So we click on that carousel widget. This works just the same as the widgets I've shown in the last couple of demos, where we use autocomplete to pick items from the exhibit item collection. So I'm going to go and pick a handful of items to display in my carousel. As with the other widgets, we can select to choose. We can choose to display a caption or not. And so I'll just choose to use the title caption. Save this widget. And now you see we have a nice carousel right there at the top of our home page that users can use to get a first introduction to the type of items that are in this exhibit. If I go back into edit mode again, I'll show you a couple other things. One, this is the multi-up item grid that I showed in the demo last week. Last week I mentioned that right now, as of last week, we could only use the title for the caption, but now this week we've added the ability to choose any metadata field to use for the caption field. So if I save that, we'll see that we're, for the multi-up item grid here, instead of the title, we're now showing the place created field. And finally, I want to show one more widget we've added this week, which is the featured items widget. So again, configuration is very similar to the other widgets I've shown you. So we'll pick a few to display, to feature in this widget. And again, I can choose the field I want to display. I'm going to choose title. Save this. And as soon as it saves, scroll down here to the bottom, and so this is the widget we just added, the featured items widget. And so this allows the user to just click on different titles and see that item. So we have more widgets in progress that we'll be showing in the near future. But those are the features and enhancements we've added to the site this week. As usual, the team also did significant but less demoable backend work to support these features, along with fixing more than a dozen bugs and making a lot of subtle but important design styling updates throughout the site. And that's it for Sprint 4. Next week is Sprint 5, so you can expect another demo of Spotlight progress at the end of next week.